Become selfish so you can become generous. This concept I originally got from an amazing guy named Thomas Leonard, who's no longer alive, kind of the founder of the personal coaching movement. In his book, The Portable Coach, he says, become very selfish right at the beginning. And I'm not talking about the kind of selfish where you're egocentric and ultra narcissistic and where you don't do anything for anyone else. I'm talking about the kind of selfish where you make yourself important first. You make yourself a priority in your life in order to become very generous so you can give the most to others. I don't know how my life's going to play out or what my perspective is going to be on the future, but I would argue right now that because I've been very selfish and I've spent many years just filling my mind with all of this wisdom from other people that have gone before me that are much greater thinkers than me, that I am at my most generous now, that I can give the most back. And I also submit to you that you can do both, but they're not mutually exclusive. Most people think in terms of, well, I can be either selfish or I can be generous. You ever met a person that was super generous and will just never be selfish at all, no matter what you tell them, and they can't even hear? You know what you need to do is you need to go spend some time working on yourself so that you can become much more, no. You have to put others first. In fact, would you like to drive over my back? Walk on me a little bit. There's a puddle. I'll lay on it for you. You're like, no. Come on. Go do some work on yourself, because if you're strong. No, I could never put myself before others. And have you ever met a person that's so focused on themselves, so, again, egocentric, narcissistic, that they can't see outside of them, they can't see the effects that they're having on the world, and they're not genuinely generous? The extremes, I think they lead to negative results. On the other hand, I think if you embody both, that both of them can be much more powerful as a result. Become selfish so you can become generous. Value yourself and your time more than any woman. Value yourself and your time more than any woman. What does it mean to value something? It means to assign priority to it in your mind, of worth of some kind, equate it with other things. Well, I'll suggest to you that when you value yourself and you value your time more than any woman, you'll become much more attractive to women. And as you start to attract higher and higher quality women, they will actually respect this quality about you more and more and more. If you really drive this point home and you really cultivate a lot of self-respect and you don't tolerate any disrespect of yourself or your time, you'll find that that will give you the ability to maintain attraction with those amazing women that seem untouchable for as long as you want. Stop making identity meaning out of external events. Now, what do I mean by identity meaning? Identity meaning. Well, we talked about this idea that you have a self-image inside of you that you carry around. Imagine that you have a picture on the wall, and you walk up to it, and maybe it's a picture of you smiling. You take a little black marker and you black out one of the front teeth. And then you draw some wrinkles on it. You make it look like a derelict. What effect does that have when you look at the picture? Instantly you have a little different gut level response. Well, we humans do something that's approximately like that when whenever an external thing happens, like maybe someone disapproves of us, they don't like what we're doing, instead of just saying, oh, they disapprove of us, whatever, that's their issue, we internalize it and we make it about us. And then we go further and we actually make it about who we are as a person. We attach that to our self-image. We identify that with ourselves. And we make identity meaning out of it. So instead of just saying, oh, that person disapproved of what I did, fine, they can do whatever they want. We say, oh, they disapproved of us. Wow, people probably don't approve of me. Wow, I probably don't deserve approval. I'm the kind of person that people don't approve of. And you generalize. And then that becomes our identity. So stop making identity meaning out of external events. Eliminate failure by learning from it. I've spent a lot of years of my life working on my own head and working to get this whole notion of failure out of my system. A big epiphany that I had was that failure is an invented concept. Humans invented the concept of failure. We made it up. Just as surely as we made up any of the other ideas that we've invented. And if you ever get to that point where you are a failure in your mind, that's going to take a ton of work to undo that. So I went to the core and said, well, how can I just eliminate this whole notion of failure? Because it doesn't really exist. And by doing that, I think I've really liberated myself from a lot of things. What's the best way to eliminate anything you perceive as a failure? Stop, look at the experience, and think about what you've learned from it. And then compare the lesson that you got to the price that you paid. And I think you'll always realize that the lesson was a bargain. It's always a bargain.